And we are back with the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! Want to get this game done as quickly as possible. At least the first one. So that way I can, you know, have more time for another playthrough. I have a lot of games in my backlog. Including another Undertale-esque video game. RPG, video game. Just wanna play video games. Just wanna play video games. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We're on a study tour of Great Britain, with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Great Britain in the 1800s, the court is stacked against us. By that, I mean everyone here is going to be racist. Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning. Oh, hey. Ah, Mr. Natsume. Good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up sorry, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. I don't think that's what that means. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Well, the second mouse gets the cheese. Do all literary people take things so literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes. I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Like I said, racism. Do you know why that might be, Mr. Zato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Nah, it's because we're Asian. Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Miss Suzato? I still don't know, is it Zeeks or Zeeks? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zeek's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. Just like me. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane! Mundane! It is the most significant saga of the century to some of us! Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that's how the papers are describing it. Imagine if we all lived for centuries. You know, men, like, well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you! Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbrainers. I'm afraid there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive! Hey, if you don't want my help... Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student new to London with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba, Esquiress. I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way to the courtroom at once. All right then, Mr. Natsume. It's time. Let's go. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. What is with that fucking... There's a game glitch now. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight! I'm just kidding. The Old Bailey courtroom. Oh! New jurors. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Actually, it's pronounced Nipponese. Nipponese. Yeah, Nipponese nuts! Silence. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Do you have a point? Don't let him get to you. Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Everyone has a right to a trial, you racist cunt. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Mrs. Adelson. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and everyone has the right to a trial. Saul Goodman. Very told me that, and it's most fascinating, if dark trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end. Dickhead. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the Giraffe, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? You never know when you might be down in luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Hey, it's Bruce Fairplay. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than... fuck, I have too many voices to... no voices unless... well, I must warn you... let me think. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more useless than I appear. Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that Mustached Foreigner did the deed. Oh, I know you. Hey, come on, what are we waiting for? Know how he did it anyway.
Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Very well, let us proceed.
Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zieks.
Very recently, Great Britain signaled an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the docks today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Suzuki Natsume. Oh, there's a Grim Reaper on that wine bottle. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, bullshit, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are! Just look at that solo complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. Oh, she's also racist.
Oh, come on, let's get this over with. With me and Joe, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollow chalice here in this great chamber. How many hollow chalices do you have? Bitch works at the Hallowed Chalice Factory. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
It's the chip guy. Your name and occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector?
The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Gray.
But she's alive, right?
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be?
Yes, having been stabbed in the back by your attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since, but she's not dead, so why would that warrant a death penalty? What? So they don't even know who she is for sure? Everyone here needs to be fired. Like, this is the most incompetent court system. The regular race attorney court system is more competent than this.
Comatose, I see, but her life is not in danger.
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray elaborate on the details, Inspector. Or was I thinking of the previous... Was it this trial or the previous trial that where, fucking the penalty for losing... the punishment is death penalty. Don't support the death penalty. So, if I could ask everyone to look at the street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement, running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector.
The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please.
The case file has been entered in the court record. Found with a knife in her back. It's currently unconscious. What of the weapon that was used?
Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back.
Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. Ugh, knife crimes. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scragged-looking Suzuki-san, I suppose.
A common old garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence.
The jackknife has been entered into the court record.
Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems she's like she's a poor student herself. Oh, they're gonna fucking, like, say, oh, the motive was that it's in their nature as Japanese. No. Oh, really? No blood. What? Oh. What? There is literally nothing here. You can't even. It's just open the blade. Close the blade. What? Close the blade. Report an officer, Rolly beat. No other signs of injury. From there. I know a Calabash Road is important. Hard to imagine she would have found anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If theft and grievance have been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? You arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
How is that? Fuck you. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured its hallowed bouquet. Hold him in contempt of court, you useless fucking judge! Sorry. Don't know what came over. For it is you, my learned friend, who's being heavy-handed here. What the fuck? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. Oh man, that is so fucking funny, dude.
Everybody we arrest is a criminal. We are incapable of doing wrong.
Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. It's the fucking retroactively, exonerative clause that they use to refer to law enforcement. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Nipponese nuts, you white bitch.
Yes, sir.
As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke and arrested him.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident.
Oh yes, you can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
Did you check the knife for fingerprints? Oh wait, forensics haven't been invented yet. So it was way easier to get away with crimes. You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Fuck you! Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, Forgive me, Lord Zeeks, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it. What are you doing, Mrs. Adu?
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream, and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings. You know, maybe we won't have so many people fleeing the scene of the crime if, like, they were assured that they wouldn't be, suspected. Like, why don't people report crimes? Because they're scared of becoming the suspect. Bystander effect. A green overcoat? Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. Oh my, a photographic printed full color. What will the world come up with next? The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there was nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes. Gah!
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, Counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Mr. Natsume's arrest. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Hold it! A light fog, you say? Well, light for London. You can see the opposite side of the street from us. Not much farther, though. It's like I keep forgetting the voice I'm doing. That's light, is it? Around these parts, yes. Not something I expect a Japanese fellow like you to know, of course. I've read that London is famous for its fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. How quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate. I see. Yeah. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand up the end of your arm.
Oh my, indeed. The other day I was nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling.
Well, I mean, maybe the fucking someone else was hiding in that fog, and that's why Mr. Natsume didn't see anyone there. Suzato-san and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. Fuck me. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Your face is lamented by the accused.
Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one about but the victim and the accused.
How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us. Ah, yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? I demand to know the identity of these witnesses. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard, and we all know the police would never lie about the circumstances of someone dying. That is correct, Mom. Then we must hear their testimony. The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But wait a minute! At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, It would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. It's actually an archipelago. But here in the capital city of Great Britain... Hey, wait a minute! Great Britain is also a tiny island! All main roads are illuminated by the night by gas streetlights. He's literally gaslighting you. Gaslighting isn't real. You made that up because you're crazy. The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime.
Quite. Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. It seems the counsel for the defense is taken stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. From behind, you say? That's right. As you can see from this print. Oh, boy.
Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back.
Let's compare it to this knife. Damn. Almost identical. Completely identical. Even the blade is at the same location.
And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in a critical condition? Comatose, no less.
I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's been treated at Bart's. Bart's? Just Bart's?
I was hopeful that she'd come around before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events.
Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. What the fuck are you saying? Your falsetto tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. Oh, wait. Oh, I get it. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Mr. Natsume's belongings. I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crime scene.
Yes, the 3 books on the floor.
That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books. Oh, fuck. Fuck me. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand. Which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with his books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape he might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back?
Then what reason would he have to drop his belongings? That must be what happened, my lord, yes. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Okay. The closest secondhand bookshop to the accused lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books. A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaum Street. Oh, wait. Sorry. As it happens, the accursed is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road on the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route which he would have taken home. Something like this. The local map's information has been updated. Wait, where was the victim found? I don't remember. Was he going from the bottom or the top? North or south?
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant was certainly past the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspectors made being the bookshop's location. Right? The crucial detail in what you've just told the court, Inspector, is the location of the bookshop. I couldn't agree more. So, where is it exactly?
Are you winding me up, Sunshine? I just explained that. I got the map out and everything. Used red bloomin' ink and drew the books route home on for you. And I distinctly remember seeing you nod along, Counsel.
Oh, yes, of course. I must have been so nervous I didn't take it in. The blunder of the day goes to you, my learned friend. No, not yet. The trial's only just begun. After all... Mr. Naruhodo, I would strongly advise you to look carefully through the court record at this stage. That's where it happened. It happened right outside his lodgings. Yes, miss. At least at once, miss. Sorry, I made a mistake, miss. Inspector, continue with your testimony, please. So, is that the contradiction? Let's try this again. Come on. Keep it up. Fucking balls. Can I put my balls in your jaws, balls in your jaws? Can I put my balls in your jaws? Balls in your jaws, can I? The bookshops. Stock. 3. Wait a minute. Oh! Your books! Your books! That wasn't the bookshop he started from. Start from the bottom, now we here. Start from the bottom, now we... Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor? Start from the veterinary here. Say that Scarlet Juniper says that this song only makes sense if you leave him out. No, it could make sense if you're like doing like a cross-country road trip and you started in Nevada and then you end up in like fucking Ohio. What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe. Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes. It could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. Could the man be any more sardonic? He was on his way home from Bourbon Books, a second-hand bookshop he apparently patronizes. No, you ain't.
Objection.
If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is the receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. Sorry, I can't yawn. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in the accuser's room, did ya? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I suppose.
Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop?
Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop, not far from Bourbon Books. But you said it was the closest one, you dipshit! It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it. Oh my fucking god. Well, clearly you don't give that much of a fuck about this case if you're not going to cover all your bases.
Objection.
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection.
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, please don't say musty. It makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection.
I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here, if that might be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returned from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all. Could that be true?
Well, it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility.
Sure, let's go with that. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir, what you just said? Absolutely. It could absolutely be right.
Inspector Gregson, where's this Your Books establishment?
Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meerschaum Street, going east. So it could have been... And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. Oh, he just pulled out the clown. You are not a clown, you're the entire circus. To your future career in the circus! Motherfucker! Damn it! You put the glass down now, or I'll put it down for you. I didn't think I needed it spelled out, but here we go. We could have gone down Calabash Road if the accused would come home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books. There's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. Yeah, but he would have arrived at a different time than if he were leaving Bourbon Books. So the timing doesn't work out.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
You didn't even sip that, you motherfucker! Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. I'm not your friend, and you have no say over how many slurs are in my vocabulary. Not stab it! No, I didn't mean slur. No! I meant swear. Swear. I do not say slurs. God damn it. I've made a severe lapse in judgment. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Whatever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. I'm not your friend, and you have no say over how many swears are in my vocabulary.
Just as I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What did I say? I had enough of this now. Beg your pardon? I would be sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruhodo, we mustn't give up. What do you mean? If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Ah, she's absolutely right. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Suzeki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but... well, obviously I'm gonna raise a fucking objection. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from Yorbucks to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. See, what did I say? What did I say? And the defendant used these streets, look what happens! He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked. Ah, but... talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what's commonly referred to as the long way round. Ah. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. Yeah, well, the average man also wouldn't stab a woman, so... hey, your assumptions are also bullshit. In other words... the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings, and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
You just hate Japanese people. Ah, yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I swear to God, if you say, I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning, he claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. Well, at least that's a better excuse than, oh, we can't trust the accused, he could be lying. Because apparently innocent until proven guilty doesn't mean shit when you're asking questions! Sorry. Don't get mad. Just a game. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which road he took home. I know. Ah! I thank you, my learned friend. I'm not your friend, and when this is over, I am going to rip off your head and shit down your neck, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors? But even that, if that is the case, the defense still... oh, fucking hell. The jury is hungry for justice. I agreed with Lord Von Zix. Wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean... we members of the jury are completely convinced now?
Very well, in that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Oh.
Guilty!
Well, at least know what they sound like.
Guilty!
Oh, that's what she sounds like.
Guilty!
That's what they sound like? Objection!
It would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous.
Hold it! Objection! Conjecture! Objection! To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You served Queen and country admirably. Wait, who was the monarch at this point? Was it Queen Victoria? Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. Not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Time to tip the scales! Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. I'm going to shove my katana up your ass. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Yeah, rights of the defense written into an antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Fuck you, dude. You fucking white ass motherfucking dickweed. You don't give a fuck about the law when it benefits you more than anyone else, especially someone who isn't white tries to use the law to benefit them. All of a sudden, oh, the law is unjust. We gotta change the laws. Fucking tyrannies in the streets. Fuck you. Fuck you. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses.
Very well, counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
It's clearly not antiquated if it works. Of course we're ready.
I'm not too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncle's refusing to throw in his alley.
You just made my list under her number one. It is a very short list.
Very well, then. Ladies and gentlemen of the
Giraffe.
You will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
For pity's sake, that little Nippy's oddity already admitted himself. God, fuck you. Why is this game so racist?
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why, it can only have been the victim. The man wouldn't have gotten around the houses on his way back from the duck stop, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. I really don't care. Can we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing. I don't remember your voice.
Your books, yes. Nice shop, that. But Berman books? No, not worth a visit. With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear.
When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in a green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now. Why did he have to run away like that? How are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can he possibly make a case for the defense? Mr. Nahoda, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue... Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least. Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord. Hurrah! Just need to keep this trial going somehow, whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke. You can do it. Well, Nephi's already admitted himself, didn't he? What the fuck does that mean? Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was in the witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yes, I had a feeling in your face. Or the sight of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. Oh, it's Australian, so I have been doing the right accent. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry.
Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and the young hatted pegged as pegged. You had me and the young hatted pegged. Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge. Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop. If I could turn back to the clock. Well, anyway, I don't know about the Hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. I'm free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Ha. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might try to change this man's mind, given our awkward history. Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. First now. I don't give a fuck. Just thinking of the fucking image of it fucking pointed at. Okay.
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why it could only have been the victim.
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him.
Well, quite, that's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly, that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit.
Why is everyone so judgmental? But let us not forget, madame, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman.
Why, of course he does. If he'd missed stabbing her, his life is over.
The man is obviously a leather-faced coward, honestly claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. You're about to collapse before my eyes if you don't stop being racist! But if that's the lies your suggestion, do you not think you would have concocted something more credible?
Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are...
Oh, fuck you! White motherfucking white-ass bitch! White woman extinction button, white woman extinction button. If I could tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it. I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could possibly have committed this awful crime. If no one else could have done it, the accuser must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple.
Your argument is compelling.
Her argument is built on fucking racism. He lied because he is Japanese. That is her argument. This fucking kangaroo court, but the kangaroo has 3 Ks. I must admit.
Oh my, you are too kind, my lord.
Why? That went well for her. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter.
So the poor woman...
Wait. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses. Wait. Not worth a visit. Wouldn't have gotten around. But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you draw on the map, you mean.
What was it, Calabash Road or something?
Yes, precisely.
But it seems to me that what counts here is what for the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not.
Yes, that's true.
And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there?
Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. Ah, I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I've given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone to Calabash Road Way, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. Ugh. A reason why Suzuki-san might have taken the longer way home. Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one. Okay, it's all part of the process.
So the poor woman was attacked from behind, wasn't she? How dreadful.
Whatever is the matter, young man?
You're the wife of Mr. Garradeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room. Mary, I think, was her name.
Might as well. Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid you understand.
She's keeping up that charade. This is gonna be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? You'd be selected for the jury at this trial, I mean. Herc, sorry.
Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see.
I mean, yeah, that if it's for probably for safety reasons, like you should just go around telling everyone that you have jury duty. That's how you get assassinated.
It was in the letter I received. The instructions are very clear, so I'm afraid I have no choice.
I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in Oslo for a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit such a crime as this?
Oh my goodness me, yes. He's just the sort.
Oh god, this entire fucking jury is racist. What?
Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks. And don't get me started on those shifty eyes, and all the neighbors are talking about it.
Oh my god.
I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a
bomb into some. Oh my fucking god! Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How can people say such things about them? Because they're racist, Susato. He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... What? Anyway, I better be careful about this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. I really don't care. What? So what? You're voting guilty because you don't... Huh. A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Oh, don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so was my family's. What?
The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a labor like me can't afford to take time off.
And so, don't you fucking dare use the plight of the working class to justify bigotry, to justify the condemnation of a man's life. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Is that the fault of the defendant, or is it the fault of the pigs who underpay you and overwork you? Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I'll go to the union in the morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's rough. This time of year, this water and the gas supply pipes burst in the front.
After cheap labor to get the works dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn to dusk, this.
The writer's strike is over, but in the future, if there's like a strike but for video game developers, support it. Don't buy any of the new video games. Don't buy any new video games unless they're like from studios that support the work, that are unionized and support the strike, right? And you know, play. That's why I did some buy-in of new games. I got a whole bunch of games to play. So, yeah. Workers of the world, unite. So you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you?
That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner. This pixelology. The flag of Japan, but it's actually this house towel with a perfectly placed water stain on it.
Oh shit, I just peed on my towel accidentally. Better turn this into cloud.
It was a water stain. I had an ice pack that it leaked onto the towel. I didn't fucking pee on it. I mean, you peed on it. You peed on it, didn't you, little piss boy? I didn't piss, I didn't! I'm not a little pee-pee boy, I'm not! I mean, the water stain was perfectly circular. Are we sure that, like, what, I could imagine, like, something like ice or just a splash of water being circular. I can't imagine piss being perfectly circular. If you pee on a towel, how would that even happen? How would you accidentally pee on a hand towel? Unless they're implying that he purposely peed on the hand towel and lied about it, like the guy, how do I get remove a cylinder from a mini peanut on M&M's tube? How do I do that? Did you put your penis in the M&M's tube? No, it was a cylinder. It was a cylinder, you guys. But what if it actually was a cylinder? What? Another coincidence.
That's right, Meerschaum Street it was.
Meerschaum Street. On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please.
What's the point in that? Can't we just get this business over with now?
Meerschaum Street, eh? Wait, let me look at the record. Stenographer. In fact, if I remember right, it was just around the corner. So he actually knows where it happened. Please, sir, it's important. Probably because he knows one of the witnesses. Maybe one of the witnesses is also a worker.
I'll do it then.
I think I know. On the day it happened, I was digging up Meerschaum Street from dawn till dusk. Let's look at the map. Meerschaum Street, that's where it happened. Which means you're... Oh! He had to... Fucking, my client didn't go down the short route because he couldn't have gone down the short route. Those 2 statements are clearly at odds with one another.
At odds, counsel. Explain yourself.
Please don't point, though. It wasn't me, I swear.
What? I just want to get this done and dusted.
Well, juror number 3.
Oh, me, sir? What do you mean?
Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impassable. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road. Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? He must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way.
So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that might be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice.
Yes!
My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may?
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. I would like to call all my surprise witnesses again. Time to tip the scales. What about you, sir?
Who, me? Well, all right then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I say.
Oh, don't worry, juror number 5. I intend to fill up the prosecutor's hole personally. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful. Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only. If we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop down Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zeeks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means you have at our disposal.
All right, thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination, please.
Yes, my lord. I have to say not guilty at this point. Yeah, so... if they said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, it can only have been the victim. Poor woman was attacked from behind. I'll just press him just to be safe.
Sorry? For do you say?
For what? Somebody get this man a hearing aid. An old-timey hearing aid? The fucking trumpet that you put to your ear so you can hear things better? Sure, that's gotta hurt, right? All he said was hold it. What he wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often?
I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. Donk. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road?
That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. Headed down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant.
Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now.
You've changed 2 of the jurors' minds, Naruhodo. Yes, just 2 more to go. Deliver the finishing blow now! It's time to turn the tables here. Wish I knew how to do this without a takedown. I suppose words will have to suffice for now. Serious table flip! Audie already admitted himself. I'm not talking... If a woman in green... Oh! It wasn't a woman in green, it was an old man in green!
Objection.
Those 2 statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel?
Well, juror number 2, juror number 6. Hey, whatever you mean, sir. I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, well, you are well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection.
Can we really be sure of that, madam? Why, whatever you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my! My goodness, you mean? That's right. I'm referring, of course. to hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today? It was entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. Well, look at that. My goodness me.
Sorry, you need a pee?
Who, her? I gotta pee. I gotta pee on her. And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapse in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my!
You idiot, old man. If you hadn't been so dastardly rolling around here, we'd have boxed us off hours ago.
And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? Don't blame the old man.
What did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it?
Everyone calm the fuck down. My lord, I don't hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but...
You'd like to change your leaning, I presume?
I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
And I would too.
What?
Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well...
I mean, you did just... Ha-ha! The scales are in my favor! We just need to get those other two on our side.
Well, our submission examination is concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the nay...
The yay... Wait.
The yeas 2, the nays 4.
Fuck you. I'm not doing this. I'm not... They have to rhyme.
The nays have...
Or maybe that is... It's nay and yay, right? But, like, otherwise it would be A, I, and no? Fuck.
The ayes 2, the nays 4. So the nays have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
See, this makes more sense than just delaying the trial because there isn't any sufficient evidence, right? Because, like, yeah, they're still on trial. There's still reason to suspect them. But the people who actually decide the verdict, the jury, they're split. So, they have to continue. That makes more sense, you know? It almost makes me forget the fact that this is, like, there's no presumption of innocence. And it's fucking reasonable doubt. It just doesn't hold any weight. Reasonable holds a bit more weight in this game than it does in the other Ace Attorney games. Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hollow chalice moments after raising an objection? Although, actually, the presumption of guilt over the lack of presumption of innocence does make sense, because this is Great Britain. Only to crush it in disgust, pray forgive the discourtesy. Sorry, dude, I'm not listening to you. Can't hear you over your racism. Lord Van Zeeks? What's your major? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Fuck you. Whatever do you mean?
Objection.
Take your racism and shove it up your British ass. I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed. Stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road, as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. That's right, took me the whole day, and they paid me a measly tuppence for it. Now, my learned Japanese friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? Well, I do know that it used to mean the distance from the king's nose to his middle finger. Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? So what, are you saying that my client jumped over the fuck? Someone would have seen that, you... Does that be? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. I'm just giving him a voice, every different voice every time he talks. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope of passing anyway, and we just turn the gentle back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time. If they want their construction... Oh, you want my construction site to be up to code? Maybe you should pay me more money. The accused is no gentleman, as far as I can see. Fuck you. I have little doubt, however, that could spring over 2-yard trenches and meanderings around town. So then what are you saying? You... Oh. I have much of doubt. He's a fucking... He is a sickly... Fuck you. Did I have a splinter? It's like a blister on my finger. Whatever. Ah! Is that true? Is it? Oh, come on. The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be little doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Crushed in a single sentence. And old man.
Cold man, you can talk. You can talk.
You say that's around 5 o'clock on the day in question. You slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Japanese behind you at the time? What are you, a cop?
Can't say as I remember.
Yeah, because he was on the ground after he slipped! What the You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say this was old man, you say it was this old man that the accused saw. But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. You have just as much as evidence that he saw that was the old man he saw that... we have just as much evidence for my claims as for your claims.
Oh my god, that's true.
Then Zeeks, you're fucking guilty. Dip him in acid. Lower him into acid. Order. Lord Van... Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. My lord.
If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination?
Seriously, what is that? I think it's just a blister, yo. Whatever. I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. But my hospitality has its limits, and they may have been reached, I feel. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What are you talking about? My lord. The prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand.
Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses.
Its next witnesses? Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. Can we not bring in the policeman? I cannot handle more of this fucking corrupt government bullshit. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Oh god, I hate this world, I hate this world, I hate this world. Alright, no matter who Van Zieks brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Saseki-san. I know he's innocent. And I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over. Oh. What? Wait a minute. It felt like they were doing a next time. Is that... No, we're still in part 1. Strap in, folks. It's gonna be a while. State your names and occupations for the record. Are these children?
Meh. Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir.
And I'm Mrs. B. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. Ah, a young couple. Oh, wait. The people is right there. 21. Question mark, question mark, question mark. 32. 34. 46. 38. 10. 33. Tobias Gregson. 44. 16. She's 16! What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Well, he's probably overworked and underpaid because the bourgeoisie... Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most... Oh, Rolly Beat. Because, you see, like, when a cop first starts being a cop, what they work is, it's called the beat. Patrolling the beach is the most demanding work in the world. A beat cop. Like, that's how every cop starts, I think. On the beat. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually.
Indeed, apart from where days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that the meters are reading true.
So basically, they, do everything that people don't like.
And they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights.
And they're responsible for keeping your streets boring. Fact, police. There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep at my feet, I'd collapse long ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. Yeah, unless they run into an Irishman. Then it's fucking on sight. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction. And they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly?
That's not the way.
That's right, sir.
Fuck.
Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir.
What a great witness she's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident.
Yes, sir.
It was our wedding anniversary, and Rhoda was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other stuttered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box.
Haha, police box.
It was definitely the Japanese man on the dock. Will and I both saw him clear as day.
And the way police boxes work, aside from being time machines, they also, what you do is you use them to call the you put the criminal inside the box. You lock him inside the box, and then you call the police. Scares day. We gotta bring that back. Citizens arrest. In fact, just abolish the police. Have all arrests be made by citizens. Fuck it.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say.
Oh dear. This policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. Well, only his wife. The policeman is zonked out. I would be too. God. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of evidence that you established in the summation examination will be quashed. It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place. Hey, Van Zeeks, could you please present the evidence that shows when I fucking asked?
What an unfortunate bechancing. And on your wedding anniversary, too. Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. Thank the Lord for that.
I just don't know how to voice women. I'm sorry, women. Gosh, the life of London Bobby sounds very hard indeed. Indeed. Bond. However, this cross-examination will be over in 2 minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused. Mr. Sozeki Natsume, I still have a right to cross-examine them, you fuck. You pasty fuck. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation here. Oh, I'll show you gravity when they throw you out the window! Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Oh, man. I wish someone could just do all the talking for me while I take a nap. I mean, just like, I think that's called, like, I don't know about a wife, but, like, not, like, talk for me, just, like, sorry, like, we got substitute teachers. I really think that he didn't want to come in today. He was too sleepy. That should be a valid excuse for why you are absent from things. Come on.
Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence this cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. What the witnesses saw. Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after line.
Two silhouettes appeared out of the fog and pavement in front of us.
Hold it!
Two silhouettes.
That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction.
Ooh.
There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man.
That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume. Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at that time there was nobody else nearby?
Oh, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, of course there was a light following the ground. Well, Briar Road is dead straight, and you can see a fairly long way down the pavement. So, and then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said? Yes, sir. As a cop who spends all day, every day, keeping watch of the streets, I swear to it, sir. Is that a I'll know when a reaction, sir. She's just making go-go eyes. As I'm sure, as my love for Patricia is too. Young love. I still maintain that there's no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly. Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed?
Oh my god, you're right. You remember. I'm in so much pain I lost my accent.
All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other started to scratch at something before running off. Was it the thin one or the fat one? Scattered something. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. Hold on, Nick. I found a way to update the autopsy report. But then when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling?
Yeah. Well, yes, that's right. It was some old books. I see. Old books. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. The culprit has dropped a number of them, all around where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed. As clearly pictured in this photographic print. That rotten Japanese stand did that. Oh, fuck. She's also racist. Why is everyone racist? Oh, wait. Stupid question. This is Great Britain. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw it was the man in the dark without question, sir. Is he a Kuroshu guy or a Snork me guy? The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the top mouth, the snow. Jesus, fuck! Any more insults you want to throw in?
That's right. I looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes. And then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court, this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue. Yes, sir!
We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box.
Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
Oh, no, I won't. I may not be a police officer myself, but I'm the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
You are going to give him whiplash, dude. What? Yes, that's right. I asked Mr. Beast to go. Almost Mr. Beast. I'm just gonna call him Mr. and Mrs. Beast. Fuck you. I was off duty at that point. But the Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast! Preserve the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see, and told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box?
Depends on a crime location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat.
So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the instant fell under, so she could go and report it. I ran there as quickly as I could, and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know. And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of 2 model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush. Isn't he, darling?
Yes, sir, what Patricia said, sir. Let's move on, shall we?
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
Ah! We absolutely could. Us learners have exceptional eyesight, you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps are more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
I'm slipping into the other voice, damn it. Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you just stop shaking your husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
Right? Ah, yes. It was the accused and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the collar guys, the top mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir! As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, can't be any question. It was Suzuki-san that they saw running away from the scene of the crime. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beast saw... Mr. and Mrs. Beast saw what they say they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day. Yes, I feel the same. So if that's true, where does it leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony. Oh no, then what do we do? Cosmo-san were here. What are you trying to say? I think you would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony. What do you mean, somewhere else? Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling down the question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate. Oh, right. Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. If we don't, we're afraid the trial may reach an unfavorable conclusion. Why do dogs seem to be so up against? That's not a hint, though.
Hold it!
No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beast?
Oh no, certainly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even...
Ah, misogyny. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? This country claims to be more enlightened. Like fucking the Westerns always claim to be the enlightened culture, yet they're the ones with the misogyny and the racism and the cringe. And the terrible food. Actually, I like fish and chips.
I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling?
Oh, well, I just finished my beat. Now we're heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, really. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes.
Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Yeah.
Kindly hear to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beef for the day, correct?
That's right, sir, yes. Although I spent a drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet.
The police isn't my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end.
What's that now?
My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to all its policemen of our sworn duty. Patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I come for 20 miles every single day, without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the plodding on my boots is all Londoners need to feel safe and secure.
So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then.
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beast pulls up all at the lot. Being married to a brother like me, or to show my dear wife how much I care.
Ah. Oh, what a charming couple. Her young live is such a joy to behold. Yeah, but I could do without the racism from the woman. If a little over the top, perhaps.
And then, kindly describe what happened next.
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it.
What? No, it's really not that at all.
I just was a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything. Like these nuts.
What?
What about the books the man dropped?
Okay, tell me.
I can tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one.
Do it. Tell me.
And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
What are you waiting for?
Will do, Mrs. Beat. No, it won't do at all. Oh, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, I don't think for a minute that Roy will.
I don't give a fuck. I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please, put your husband's fists down.
Perhaps you'd like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Beast. Might that appease you?
Yes, appease the beast.
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling?
The names of the 4 books he dropped. The 4 books! But he only dropped 3. And the receipt shows that my client only purchased 3 books. You're saying there were 4 books.
That's right. I remember all of them.
The picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's It Yannins, A Meal for Someone, and The Thingummy Something. Let's see how accurate you are. It was the picture of Monsieur Lecoq, A Meal for Gabor, Canterbury Yannins. I'm sorry, but The Thingummy Something is not one of them. Nuh-uh. I'm sorry, Mrs. Beast. But there is a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no! What flaw?
Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4. Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books.
No, that can't be.
I saw them.
Oh, I know it is. You can't fool me.
What?
Is that big old lump of a dead body?
She's not... Well, he's so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book, that's all. Let's at least try to remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her son. Oh my god. You know what, that's another problem. Like, people like me who are like, I'm a bit of a large fellow, but like, I'm not that fat, although I am a bit overweight. But point is, people who are like fat, plus size, whatever you want to call it, they tend to get misdiagnosed. Like, more often than not, doctors say, "Have you tried losing weight? Maybe she should just lose weight. Maybe if she loses weight, she'll heal from the knife wound in her back." That is probably what is happening at the hospital as we speak. Let's try to at least remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her size. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beast. But Mr. Natsume could not possibly have dropped the 4 bucks you described. Why not? Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume? Yes.
Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim or withdraw it. What proof do you have that the accused did not drop 4 bucks?
The receipt. The evidence is right here, in the form of this bookshop receipt.
From your books?
Yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
No.
Therefore, Mr. Natsume would have only dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, no!
Objection!
Like, why is it? We know who said it. It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my new learned Nippon. Your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? You see, Mr. Naruhodo, there was a 4th book, but it was burnt off at the chemical factory. What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused run in from the scene. If they're wrong about the books, what else are they wrong about? The fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. Don't let him... So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. So what if the witness is blind? Why does that have to do with the fact that the witness says he saw the murder happen? Like, that's your logic, man, Zeeks. Would that be fair? He sees right through me. But your plan has someone recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect. You'll see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found. But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. Don't do it. Don't do it, you son of a bitch. I swear to God. That print. That you mean to say... Swear to God. If you could... God damn it! Surprise evidence! You motherfucker! You motherfucker! I will shove my katana up your ass! I am sorry. That was... a bad way to express my frustration with this dude. Just can't get away from it. We can't get away from the motherfucking updated autopsy report. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. As you will observe, The fourth book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. Oh. Oh! Ah. Your Honor, I have some surprise evidence of my own. It's called a gun. Bang, 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 bang. Order! Order!
There, you see? You see? Look at that. Look, look, look.
Yes.
It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling?
Are we still in part 1? We're still in part 1.
Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh, yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody or other.
The picture of Monsieur Lecoq. Cock.
What's it, Yearnings?
Canterbury Yearnings.
A meal for someone.
A meal for Boreal, in fact. As the court had just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. So she doesn't remember them flawlessly. Do you not know what a flaw is, you dumbass? What was the fourth one she said? Whatever, I don't give a shit. Mrs. Beast's powers of recollection can only be described as accept... Fuck off, dude. You're...
Did you hear that, really? The gentleman paid me a compliment.
Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia's flawless. But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. B mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly the 4th book is that which is shown in this photographic print. The Lion's Pride. But wait a minute, that's the book that, I think the Mary mentioned it in the landlord guy. That was in the fucking landlord's lodgings. I'm sorry, counsel, but that does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? It's not odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book? I wonder, what became of that 4th book? Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence.
You submit that in the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, counsel.
He should have done that at the beginning of the fucking trial. My pleasure, my lord. The second crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. A photograph of the scene taken by the murder. Lion's Pride. The prosecution rests. You can rest on them hot coals. Looks like a bit of it's been burned. Oh my god. Oh, look at this. The book has been badly burnt. Great. You'll never be able to read it in this state. Especially not the latter pages. What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. A book recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? Oh my god. He's got that dense anime protagonist syndrome. You clearly don't remember. The Lion's Pride. Let me see. There's a book entitled The Lion's Pride. I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all. So it won't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride. That's strange. I think I have heard of a book by that name before. And very recently, too. It's a title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo. Lion's Pride. But, so does that mean she is affiliated with, Joan, that's her name. Olive Green. I have nothing further to add. What? Now, I know that sounds bad. You seem surprised, my learned friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accursed lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discredit of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile. I walked right into this. He's just saying shit. You made good arguments. He's just salty. But
Everything you said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
I think something snapped. I think you broke a rib.
This part,
So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all the witnesses and seen all the evidence. This trial has run its course. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in a terribly precarious position. I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now? Objection.
Objection.
I'm not done yet. No, my learned friend, it's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate. Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... I can't think of what to say. If I may, Lord Van Zieks. It seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point. Your insignificant little Eastern Isle was to be a lawless hole indeed. Lawless... Bitch, don't tell me... Don't act like you give a fuck about the laws. I remember you chastising the law that I invoked because it gave me an advantage. For a lily judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this, I will break your neck if you talk shit about my assistant again. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential, and her opinions invaluable. Mr. Naruhodo?
One of this land's greatest guiding principles is tolerance.
Yeah, unless you meet a Japanese person, or an Irish person, or a black person, or just anyone who isn't a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
So the court will hear you, madam.
Go ahead, Mrs. Sato. Please. Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further? Oh, boy. Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you?
Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So he must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. Yes, I understand. And thank you, Mrs. Zato. This is it. Zato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord.
Very well. The defense will present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case and has hitherto been overlooked.
Oh, shit. Now, let me say first. God. Crime scene photograph, the fourth book, the cover is burnt. A file containing an interview. He was found with a knife in her back. I think it's gotta be this, right?
Take that!
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. Yeah. Man, I'm good. The fourth book, found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know. Gah!
Yes, I'm afraid, counsel, I must confer with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity...
But, you didn't even let me explain! You led the court to believe the evidence in question contained all of it. You didn't even let me explain! So I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. We'll identify this clue at once.
Do I make myself clear?
Yes, my lord. It's, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means you may very well be on the right track. Yes, I think you might be right. So, counsel.
Precisely where is the vital clue to this case, which this fourth book conceals?
It's this burn mark. Oh, fuck. Come on, button. Hey, how you guys doing? There we go. No! Why to present?
Got it!
Got it? I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
The back? What do you... Oh, good gracious!
Sorry.
It's been burnt to a crisp.
So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nepalese friend? Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day? Pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? A charred book. There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. If it's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory.
Don't keep us waiting any longer then, counsel. Explain this theory of yours. What do you suggest that you can ascertain from the fire damage this story tome has suffered?
Its owner. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner.
I beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping in her hand as she fell to the floor, after all. It's obviously hers. No, The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand is yet to be answered. However, as to the question of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers.
Oh, good gracious, how can you possibly?
Very well. I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable claw demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. If they burn me, you'll have another trial on your case, and this time, it'll be Great Britain's ass on the line for burning... Oh, what am I kidding? No one's gonna give a fuck if Great Britain commits a hate crime.
Counsel, the defense's response here is more than very likely to influence the final outcome of the trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burnt book?
It's this guy.
Take that!
The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb, the landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know. But of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garrideb herself.
Oh my goodness, me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mrs. Garrideb's wife. I'm his maid.
That seems to be so much easier for you if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garrideb's house?
I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you see. You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence.
No, if I did that, I would be a prosecutor.
Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house.
Good lord. What sort of incident, counsel?
A fire, my lord. Oh, wait. Wait a second. Then she poured scalding hot tea on his deck. The Lion's Pride.
By Jove, the very same title as the subject of this debate.
Oh, dear me.
Objection!
This is risible. All you've told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire. In which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime.
Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garrideb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garrideb even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful. I could imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you, Rolly?
Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir.
Woman.
Had all my favorite bonbons.
The man had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him. Oh, goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime? Ugh!
Why do I keep yawning?
Objection!
No. A thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted at the very evening of the incident. And there was no report of the Garrideb's window pane being broken.
That's quite true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garrideb household. But is it not conceivable that the window was open at the time and
Not even remotely! Let's not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Gah!
Does the defense postulate the scenario in all seriousness, counsel? Do you honestly claim that the book found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garrideb's wife?
I believe it's a possibility, my lord. I didn't know. Oh, I hope everyone can see you before now, you little fuck you. Oh, civil lawyer, but you're just a coward! Coward! What? Claiming that a little tiff set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you've done is sully your family's name.
Of course, that's the only thing you care about.
I hate the British, I hate the British, I hate the British! Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud simply did for attention from your failing defense. Should box your ears. I am going to kill you. Here we go. Oh boy, more racism, damn. Think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stopped the victim is that little hunchback with the... Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Sorry, what's that?
Well,
It would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Van Zeeks?
in truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. No, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... What the fuck? If books are your predilection, my learned friends, study them on your own time. I'm gonna shove a book up your ass. What, no forgive the discouraged this time? I will break his fucking neck.
In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Guilty.
No!
Guilty! Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty! Guilty!
Objection! Objection! Object...
Thank you for that unambiguous response.
It's twice now. It's over. It's Jover. Mr. Naruhodo, don't give up. Miss Susato? Have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet. You're not suggestion. Of course, the defense has the right to another summation examination at this point. You could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance. My lord, the defense asks to exercise its right to a summation examination. You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve. I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. To be continued. Oh, thank God. Fucking hate the British.